These are the months as we know them today. Take a look at the word October. Oct. Think of all the other words you know beginning with oct. Octopus, octagon, octogenarian. Think of all the words you know beginning with dec. Decade, decimal, decathlon. You don't have to be the sharpest linguist out there to realise that sept, oct, nov, dec represents 7, 8, 9, 10. And yet we've put them in positions 9, 10, 11, 12. Why has that happened? I'll tell you why that's happened. It's because of the bloody Romans. Before that, we used to have months called quintilis and sextilis. It used to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But then the Romans got all egotistical on us. They wanted to name 2 months after their emperors. They named months after Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. Can you imagine the ego involved in naming a month after a human being? It's one thing naming it after a god. You know, you've got January after Janus, that's okay. Mars gives you March, that's okay. I mean, if you believe in a god, why wouldn't you want to venerate them by naming something as fundamental as a period of time after them? That makes sense. But not an actual human being. Get your egos out of the game. That is ridiculous. Well, they have confused things by naming July and August so, and then everything got moved around at a later date. So what we're going to do, we're going to correct this system. The first thing we're going to do is sort out the numbering, obviously. So let's call that 7, 8, 9, 10, because they are called 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what they are. So if they're going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, it follows, does it not, that that becomes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So if that's what the numbers are going to be now, let's move July and August down to there, and let's move January and February down to there. So now we've got all the same months in the same order, it's just the numbering is more appropriate, OK? That's easy. Now, let's remove the egotistical Romans from our calendar. Let's remove Julius Caesar, remove Augustus Caesar. Let's perform a Caesarean section on our calendar. Let's remove them completely and replace them with the months they replaced, quintilis and sextilis, which are now in the right place, 5 and 6. That is the numbering sorted out. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, exactly where they should be. Now, obviously, is the time we introduce the 13th month, which, of course, will be Gormanuary. Now, what we've got there is 13 months of exactly 28 days long. Everything ticks over perfectly. March the 1st, New Year's Day, will always be a Sunday because nobody wants to go straight back to work on New Year's Day, do they? And it will always be a Sunday because of the order in the calendar. The 1st of every month will always be a Sunday. The 2nd of every month will always be a Monday. And that means that New Year's Eve, the 28th of Gormanuary, will always be a Saturday. Now, it might have occurred to some of you, that 13 times 28 is 364. And that means we've got a day spare. We can't force the year to only be 364 days long. The year is to do with the stars and the planets. So what we're going to do is, after Gormanuary, we're going to have an intermission. It's 1 day long, and it's not called Sunday, it's not called Monday, it's not called anything. It isn't a day of the week, it is just intermission. It is basically an extended New Year's piss-up. You can go out on New Year's Eve, you don't have to go back until the 1st of March, everything is fine. What happens in intermission stays in intermission. And every 4th year, we have a 2-day intermission, and we call both of those days intermission. That's all it is. That regulates everything. Everything flows in a very orderly fashion from that point on. We have talked previously on this show about the old 30 days hath September rhyme. I think we can all agree that this system improves upon that rhyme. The rhyme now goes 28 days hath March, April, May and June. All the rest have 28 too, because that's how long a month is. There you go. It's much easier. Much easier. I'm confident in this. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the PowerPoint down for a moment. I'm just going to say, any questions? Any questions about the system? Yes, sir.
When are the bank holidays?
The bank holidays, we have the same number of bank holidays as we do now. We spread them evenly throughout the year, very easy. The only difference will be the people we won't let have a holiday are the ones who work in banks.